Ed always asking me for FaceTime. He want to video call with him to FaceTime.
Edward Allen Brown, better known as Big Ed, became permanently etched into internet culture through his appearances on TLC's hit show 90 Day Fiancé, which debuted in 2014. Since his reality TV fame, Big Ed has transformed his life in remarkable ways. He embarked on a weight loss journey in 2021, shedding 25 pounds, launched multiple business ventures, and continues to make headlines with his impulsive romantic decisions. From entrepreneurial pursuits to personal growth and charitable work, Big Ed's post-reality TV life has been anything but quiet. Let's find out what happened to him. From reality TV star to entrepreneur, something interesting started to unfold when Big Ed slowly stepped away from the world of reality television and began building something much more structured in the business space. And honestly, that kind of shift always raises a question. Does fame fade, or does it simply open a new door if handled the right way? In this case, a careful and almost strategic transition took shape, and behind all the on-screen personality, a much deeper professional background quietly existed long before any cameras showed up. Big Ed carried academic credentials that many people never expected. With a bachelor's degree in interior design and a master's degree in architecture already completed years before public attention arrived. And that alone changes the entire perspective, does it not? A person known for reality television suddenly appears as someone with over 25 years of experience in design and sales. And that experience did not stay surface level. Training stretched across Germany, different parts of Europe, and multiple regions in the United States, building a foundation that clearly went far beyond television moments. A strong focus developed in kitchen and bath design, and that specialty opened doors to high-level renovation projects, especially in condo and residential spaces across Southern California, which naturally leads to another thought. Was television ever the main plan, or just an unexpected spotlight on an already established career? At the same time, something else added another layer to this journey, and that involved giving back in a way that did not tie directly to profit. A role as vice president of the Friends of Madre Berenice placed Big Ed in a position connected to a nonprofit effort supporting an orphanage in Ecuador. And that detail shifts the narrative even more. Business, design, and philanthropy all started to blend into one path, creating a mix that felt both practical and personal. After many years away, a return to Bentonville also took place, connected to a past as a 1984 graduate of Bentonville High School. And that return almost feels symbolic, in a way, does it not? A full-circle moment, where experience gathered over decades finally meets a place of origin again, this time with new purpose and direction. Then came what might be the boldest move in the entire transition, and that involved stepping into the wine business, which on its own raises a curious question. How does someone move from design and television into vineyards and global distribution? The answer came through a personal interest that slowly turned into something much bigger. Big Ed developed a strong connection to Malbec wine over time, especially from Argentina, and that preference did not remain casual. A vineyard purchase in Argentina followed, turning a personal taste into a full business venture. The Mendoza region stood out as the chosen location, known for producing high-quality Malbec, and years of trying different wines such as Zinfandels, Cabernets, and Pinots eventually led to a clear decision. Malbec became the focus, and that choice shaped everything that followed. An interesting detail also came up during discussions around the wine itself. A daily habit of drinking Malbec was mentioned in a lighthearted way, with a comment suggesting that such a routine might even be what keeps life going strong. That kind of statement adds personality to the business side, but it also makes the product feel more connected to personal taste rather than pure marketing, which again brings up another thought. Does authenticity make a product stronger in a crowded market? The wine itself, named Big Ed Malbec, carries a 13.5% alcohol level and presents a mix of flavors that include blackberry, plum, dark cherry, cocoa, and a touch of oak, creating a profile that fits well within what many Malbec fans expect, while still holding its own identity. Distribution plans revealed just how serious this move into the wine industry really became. A goal to place the wine in 600 Walmart stores by December showed a level of ambition that goes far beyond a small side project. Early meetings with Walmart reportedly went well, setting the stage for a wide rollout. And that kind of access naturally changes the scale of everything. A product that starts in a vineyard in Argentina suddenly moves toward shelves across major retail locations. And that kind of expansion always brings up a key question. How often does a reality television figure manage to build something with this level of reach? The first public introduction of the wine also played an important role. A debut at a restaurant in San Diego called Brisa gave people a chance to taste the product directly, creating an early connection between the brand and real customers. That moment mattered because it moved the idea from concept to experience, and once people begin tasting something, opinions begin forming quickly. Early reactions in such settings often shape the next steps, and in this case, the launch felt like a clear signal that the venture aimed for long-term presence rather than short-term attention. Looking at everything together, a clear pattern begins to show. A background in design provided structure, years of experience created credibility, a step into real estate opened another stream, and the wine business added a completely different layer of growth. Each move built on something that already existed, rather than starting from nothing. And that approach often makes a big difference in long-term success. One question continues to sit quietly underneath everything. What really defines a career shift in a case like this? A sudden change or a gradual evolution that only becomes visible over time? In this situation, every step begins to feel less like coincidence and more like something carefully unfolding, almost like pieces that were always meant to fit together, quietly waiting for the exact moment to align. What once seemed random now carries a sense of purpose, as if every decision, every setback, and every turning point had been leading here all along. And just when it feels like the full picture is about to come into focus, the story takes a deeper, more personal turn. Because behind everything that has happened lies a transformation no one saw coming. Big Ed's personal life didn't just change, it shifted in ways that reveal a completely different side of the journey. Stay right here till the very end, because what unfolds next adds a whole new layer to everything just uncovered. Big Ed's personal life transformation. After everything that happened with the breakup from Big Ed and Liz Woods, a noticeable shift began to take shape. And anyone paying close attention could tell that this phase was not just about moving on, but about starting over in a deeper and more intentional way. Instead of rushing into distractions or trying to fill a gap too quickly, focus turned inward, and that raised a quiet but important question. What happens when someone decides to rebuild life from the inside out, instead of just fixing what shows on the surface? That answer started to unfold through small but consistent changes, especially in areas that often get ignored during busy or chaotic periods. Faith slowly became a steady anchor again, almost like returning to something familiar that once gave comfort. Church was no longer an occasional visit, but became part of a weekly routine, something structured, and dependable. Active participation followed, not just sitting through services, but actually being involved. Reading scripture on Sundays became a responsibility, and serving as an usher meant greeting people, helping them find seats, and being part of the flow of each service. It may sound simple at first, but think about it for a second. How often does a routine like that bring a sense of purpose that money or fame cannot really give? There was also a lighthearted side to this experience. During collection time, a bit of humor slipped in as it was mentioned that more people seemed eager to donate, almost as if recognition added an unexpected twist to the moment. A small laugh came with that observation, but underneath that humor sat something more meaningful. A sense of belonging started to return, and that alone can change how each day feels. This return to faith did not just fill time. Stability started to grow from it, especially during moments that could have easily felt overwhelming. There was a clear statement about trying to restart life in a different way, and that idea carried weight. Restarting sounds simple when said out loud, but what does it really take to do that? It often means letting go of old habits, facing uncomfortable truths, and choosing a new direction even when it feels uncertain. That is not easy for anyone, especially after a public relationship that brought both attention and pressure. At the same time, physical health became another major focus, and this part required discipline on a completely different level. A professional MMA boxer stepped in to guide the process, and training sessions were far from casual. Each session lasted about an hour and a half, filled with boxing drills and weight training that pushed limits. Sweat poured heavily, and exhaustion became part of the routine. Just imagine that level of effort for a moment. How many people start a fitness journey with full energy, but slowly lose consistency after a few weeks? This situation showed something different. Commitment stayed strong, and that made all the difference. Alongside boxing, hiking added another layer of activity, creating a balance between intense workouts and steady endurance. Weight loss followed naturally, with about 21 pounds gone since the start of filming, but the changes went deeper than numbers on a scale. Daily gym visits became a fixed part of life, almost like brushing teeth or eating meals. Strength training and cardio worked together to build both stamina and muscle, while diet changes supported the process. Bread, sugar, and sweets were removed, which is not a small sacrifice when those foods are often part of everyday comfort. Still, a small personal touch remained with a bit of humor, mentioning that giving up Malbec was not going to happen. That balance between discipline and enjoyment made the journey feel more realistic. After all, does complete restriction ever truly last, or does a bit of flexibility make the process sustainable? Health improvements started to show in ways that mattered more than appearance. Blood pressure medication was no longer needed, and that marked a significant step forward. Think about that for a second. How often does a lifestyle change lead to reducing dependence on medication? That kind of result speaks louder than any visual transformation. Mental health also became part of this rebuilding process, and this area often brings the hardest conversations. Therapy sessions opened the door to reflection, and not every realization felt comfortable. Honest acknowledgement came regarding past behavior in the relationship, along with recognition of the age gap and how certain actions were handled. Admitting that kind of truth takes courage, especially when it involves looking at personal mistakes without excuses. So the question becomes clear: how many people are willing to face that level of honesty instead of avoiding it? Professional guidance helped identify patterns that needed change, especially before stepping into any future relationship. This was not about blaming anyone else or rewriting the past in a more convenient way. It was about understanding actions, learning from them, and making sure those patterns did not repeat. Growth in this area often goes unseen, but it shapes everything that comes next. All these efforts came together under one simple idea, which was described as trying to invest in personal happiness. That phrase might sound easy at first, but what does it really mean? It means putting time, energy, and focus into becoming better, even when progress feels slow. It means choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. It means building a version of life that feels stable, healthy, and meaningful. Looking at everything as a whole, a clear pattern emerges. Faith brought grounding, fitness brought strength, and therapy brought awareness. Each part supported the other, creating a more balanced approach to self-improvement. Nothing changed overnight, and nothing came without effort. But step by step, a new direction began to form. And maybe that leads to one final thought, the kind that lingers a little longer than expected and quietly settles in the back of the mind. When life forces a reset, does it truly mark an ending? Or is it the kind of turning point that slowly shapes something stronger? Something that was never possible before? Because sometimes, what feels like loss is actually a shift, a redirection that only makes sense much later. And just when it seems like the dust has settled and the story has found its pause, everything starts moving again in ways no one could have predicted. What comes next is anything but simple, and it proves that the journey is far from over. Stay right here till the very end, because this next chapter takes an unexpected turn. The romance roller coaster continues. His romantic pursuits remained as unpredictable as ever, despite his work on personal growth and mental health. September 2024 brought another headline-grabbing relationship. Big Ed, 59, met 29-year-old Portia Raymond at a fan meet and greet at Capriotti's sandwich shop in Plantation, Florida. He called her this beautiful Italian dish and his dream girl, claiming they immediately hit it off. The connection felt strong enough that he asked her to dinner the following night at Yolo Restaurant in Fort Lauderdale. During that dinner, Big Ed told a friend, "This is the one. I want to ask her to marry me." Without an actual ring, the restaurant manager fashioned one from a paperclip. He got down on one knee, and the restaurant erupted in celebration. She said yes after just 24 hours of knowing him. The engagement lasted less than a week. Big Ed announced the breakup on September 23rd, initially stating, "After talking to my family, I realized that I don't want to get married. I want to be single." However, he later blamed the media frenzy for the split, explaining, "Unfortunately, the media went after her and it scared her away." His 90-day diaries appearance showcased a different approach. Big Ed went on his first blind date ever with Christine, an age-appropriate woman. "The only thing I know is that she's gorgeous and she's my age," he shared. They enjoyed a limousine ride to a haunted house, and both agreed to a second date, though further developments remained unclear. On April 18, 2025, a woman named Lena Skrivenich posted an Instagram video featuring Big Ed, captioned, "You find love in the most unexpected places." Their flirty banter sparked speculation, with Lena stating, "Ed and I are falling in love." And just when it seemed like the situation couldn't get any more confusing, something unexpected happened. Only days later, she appeared again, this time subtly drawing attention to a band resting on her ring finger, almost as if it was meant to spark a conversation without saying a single word. Was it a quiet confirmation of something real, or just another carefully timed moment designed to keep people guessing? The reactions came in fast, and not all of them were kind. Followers questioned everything, from the timing to the intention, leaving the authenticity of the relationship hanging in doubt. But here's where it takes an even more interesting turn, because while the noise online continued to grow, a different side of the story began to unfold, one that not many saw coming. Behind the headlines and speculation, there was a shift happening, something more calculated, more purposeful. And it leads directly into a new chapter that says a lot about image, relevance, and reinvention. Stay right here till the very end, because what comes next might completely change how this entire situation was understood. Giving back and staying relevant. Charitable contributions and digital platforms helped Big Ed maintain visibility beyond reality television. His understanding of health challenges stemming from Klippel-Feil syndrome drew him toward supporting families facing medical crises. The Remembering Nicholas Foundation became a cause close to his heart. Founded by Rachel Wisniewski, following her son Nicholas Miles's death shortly after birth, the organization assists families navigating infant loss financially and emotionally. Big Ed promoted the foundation through his platform, notably guest bartending at the Whale's Tail in New York during July 2024. The venue matched every drink purchased as a donation to the foundation. Cameo transformed into his most lucrative income source. Big Ed earned $634,000 after the platform's cut, with total earnings approaching $1 million before commission. He reached #1 globally on the platform for a period, starting at $25 per video and eventually charging $150. During his peak, he completed 75 to 100 videos daily for 4 months straight. Even Pete Davidson expressed being a superfan, prompting Big Ed to create a personalized video for the comedian. By Halloween 2025, he offered discounts on his standard $76 booking fee. His active presence spans Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, where he continues engaging with followers and promoting various ventures. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.